Defer, Mr. Chair.
Gentleman yields back his time. Thank you very much, Ed. I will now yield myself 5 minutes for the purpose of questioning. Administrator Sanchez, I'm going to aim the first question at you, and then I have a second question that I would encourage any of you to respond to. You and I both know that these are 4 agencies that are represented here. That does not represent the entire United States government. There are certainly issues related to the IRS and other reporting, perhaps those who have student loans and other things that would need that output. Do you believe that they've been adequately addressed as you look across this entire process, that you had help from other agencies and answered those questions?
Yes, sir. I think one of the things that we learned from disaster to disaster is that if you're one of the most impacted disaster survivors, you probably won't file in the first 30, 60, 90 days. You come in later and you're missing paperwork, you need questions. One of the things that we have built a strong partnership, for example, with the Internal Revenue Service. If we can't find, if that disaster survivor can't find tax records, we will go out and do that for them on behalf of the IRS. For example, and we know that 59 of those IRS didn't have records because we went and looked. In addition, beyond that, we're also working with our resource partners beyond the federal government because it has to be a state, local, and federal and nonprofit response. We're working with nonprofits to get that paperwork and other issues they need to get businesses across the finish line.
Did you run across anyone that was seeking assistance for a business or something where there were no IRS records that were available from the IRS?
59 of those, yes, sir.
59. Did you extend to them the advantages of the federal government, even though they had perhaps not taken the time to file paperwork about what they had been doing previously? How did you handle that?
We connect them to other resources because we're a lending program, not a grant program. There's certain requirements.
It might be the IRS. So we will be asking the IRS about how they handled that. I think it's important for the members of Congress to know that if someone chose not to legitimately register their business, to pay their taxes and do those things, I, as one member, would want to question what would that response be so that I would be aware. Thank you very much. The overwhelming thing that has struck me today is that the flexibility that you were given, each of you, and I applaud that, and I think that's important. But it is, I think, important for people to understand what the rules of the game are, how long they have, how flexible you have become in that process. Do you believe that you have adequately made sure that perhaps our young mayor, perhaps other people, perhaps yes, Mayor, I did call you young. He smiled at his wife. He smiled at his wife, and she assured him back, yes, honey, you're a young mayor. But have these become known across what I would say the needs of the island, to where it may not get to everybody, but to where everybody goes, yes, we knew the rules, as opposed to, I didn't really ever understand what we were trying to get at. Do you think that you have adequately brought these rules, regulations, timeframes, responses, answers to a broad group of people? Administrator Fenton, I'll let you go first.
Thank you, sir. I think it's a continuing process. What I found on Pacific Islands, and I've had a number of discussions with the young mayor a number of times during this event, but it's a continuing education. It's not a straight line. It's a Venn diagram, and it can take continued effort, and it's just not, myself communicating it, it's others communicating it, it's the community communicating it. I think the mayor's advisory program is critical to bring senior leaders from the community in. How do we educate them so they carry the message? Maybe using faith-based leaders, maybe using other individuals. It's a continuing effort.
You think you say the same thing every time of what the rules are to every single group?
Yeah, I think that sometimes, when you have an organization as big as ours, not everyone is on the same message sometimes, and we have to continue to improve that. I think that sometimes, federal government programs could be over bureaucratic, and the more that we
yes, sir, but we're talking about the rules.
Yeah.
We're talking about the flexibility that Administrator Sanchez so adequately explained as the flexibility. Here are the rules. And that's where I think it's important to recognize how you had some people who may not have qualified, and we need to make sure those rules are there. So you would say it's an ongoing process, something that you need to remember is very important, and sharing that information. Administrator Sanchez? Thank
So
you,
certainly,
Mr.
great
Fenton.
question, Chairman, because our parameters for doing disaster lending those are set. What we
Yeah,
can't,
but they changed.
it's just the rules not to qualify change, the rules in which you can access the loans.
I do agree.
And so one of the things, it's kind of a victim of sort of our innovation. We want to lead from the ground up and meet local priorities. So some of the parameters did change to be responsive to the local needs, like we're doing this
And
across the country.
have they been well communicated?
We're doing that daily, but again, on this visit, we've heard the need for more flexibilities, and so it is a challenge to be innovative, but also go back. And we've tried to, with 10,000 emails to homeowners, 4,000 emails to businesses, 6,400 actual physical contacts with disaster survivors to let them know what those changes are. I think we can be nimble, but I think we can also do a better job of making sure that the person that got a loan on day 10 understands the flexibilities that are now there 3 months later when someone may have gotten their loan as well. So it's a work in
I think
progress.
saying things also, and we'll completely defer to you, but to say to people, we are now halfway through this period. If you fit or believed you were going to be doing this, things like that, reminding people, if I were involved in something that was highly difficult in my life, I would want a little bit of a reminder. Not today, you got till tomorrow, but rather today you've got 6 months as a reminder. Thank you very much. I think these are the two questions that I have. I now would like to advise the panel that we're going to go through a second round in the same order. Distinguished gentleman from California is recognized.
Thank you. Mr. Fenton, I wanted to talk with